I want to start this video with a question that most people are too uncomfortable to ask. Why would someone who loves you, someone who chose you, who wants to be with you, who genuinely cares about the relationship, keep creating chaos inside it? Why would she pick fights over things that seem small? Why would she push you away and then be devastated when you take a step back? Why would she create a storm and then cry because everything is wet? It makes no sense on the surface. And that is exactly why so many relationships fall apart trying to solve the wrong problem. Because the chaos is never really about what it looks like on the surface. Today, we are going to go deep into the real psychology behind why women create chaos in their relationships. Not to attack women, not to excuse the behavior, but to finally understand it. Because understanding is the only thing that actually creates change. Stay till the very end. Because the last part of this video explains something that will completely change how you respond the next time chaos shows up in your relationship. Welcome back to Psychology on Love, the channel where we go beyond the arguments, beyond the surface, and into the real psychology of why people behave the way they do in love. If you're new here, subscribe right now. Because this is the kind of content that saves relationships. Let us talk about this. First, we need to understand something fundamental about human psychology. Chaos in a relationship is almost never random. It is almost never pointless. And it is almost never really about the thing it appears to be about. When someone consistently creates turbulence in a relationship that they claim to value, there is always something deeper driving it. Always. And in most cases, that something deeper is one of 5 core psychological realities. Let us go through each one. The first real reason is this. She does not believe the calm. This sounds strange, so let me explain it carefully. Many women, particularly those who grew up in unpredictable homes, who had inconsistent caregivers, who experienced love that came and went without warning, have a nervous system that does not know how to trust peace. When things are good, when the relationship is calm, when everything feels stable, instead of relaxing into it, something inside her starts to panic. The quiet feels suspicious. The happiness feels fragile. The stability feels like a setup for a fall she cannot see coming yet. So unconsciously, and this is critical, because she is usually not aware she is doing it, she creates the storm herself. Because a storm she creates is a storm she can predict, a storm she can control. And control, for someone who grew up in chaos, feels safer than peace. This is called a trauma response. Specifically, it is related to what psychologists call a disorganized attachment style. And it is not a character flaw. It is a survival strategy that worked once and never got unlearned. She is not trying to destroy the relationship. She is trying to survive the terrifying vulnerability of actually having something to lose. The second real reason is that she is testing whether you will stay. Now, before you feel frustrated by this, stay with me. For many women, love has come with conditions. People who were supposed to be permanent turned out to be temporary. People who said they would stay left when things got hard. And so somewhere deep in her psychology lies a question that she has never been able to fully silence. Will he leave when he sees the worst of me? And so she shows him the worst of her. Not in a calculated, deliberate way, but in a deeply human, deeply wounded way. She escalates. She pushes. She creates situations designed subconsciously to find out if this is the person who finally stays. Every time you stay calm in the storm, every time you do not abandon her in the middle of the chaos, every time you prove that your presence is not conditional on her behavior being perfect, you answer the question her past never answered. That does not mean you accept abusive behavior. It does not mean there are no boundaries. But it means that underneath the chaos is a woman asking a very old question in a very destructive way. Am I safe with you? The third real reason is that chaos is the only language she knows for expressing pain. Here is something that gets almost no attention in relationship conversations. Emotional vocabulary is a skill. And like every skill, some people were taught it and some people were not. If a woman grew up in a home where feelings were not named, where vulnerability was not safe, where expressing pain directly led to being dismissed or punished, she never learned how to say the simple, direct, terrifying words. I am hurting. I feel invisible. I am scared you do not love me the way I need to be loved. I feel alone even when you are right next to me. Those sentences require an emotional courage that takes years to develop. And so, instead of saying them, she does something that gets a reaction. She picks a fight. She becomes cold. She escalates something small into something enormous. Because a fight, as painful and destructive as it is, achieves something that silence never does. It creates connection. It forces engagement. It makes you look at her, respond to her, be present with her, even if the presence is conflict. Conflict, for someone who fears abandonment, is better than being ignored. She does not need a fight. She needs a conversation she does not yet know how to start. The fourth real reason is one of the most misunderstood dynamics in all of relationship psychology. She is trying to feel something real. Long-term relationships naturally settle into routine, comfort, familiarity. And for many people, that comfort is beautiful. It is safety. It is home. But for someone with an anxious or chaotic attachment history, that comfort can start to feel like numbness, like distance, like the relationship is dying even when it is not. And so she creates intensity. Because intensity feels like aliveness. Because a heated argument, as terrible as it is, produces a biochemical reaction in the body, adrenaline, cortisol, heightened emotion that feels, in a strange and deeply unhealthy way, like passion. Psychologists have documented this pattern extensively. People who grew up in emotionally intense environments often unconsciously associate intensity with love. If things are calm, love must be fading. If things are dramatic, love must be real. She is not creating chaos because she wants to hurt you. She is creating chaos because she is trying to feel loved through the only emotional language her nervous system recognizes as real. The fifth real reason is the hardest one to say, and the most important one to hear. She has lost herself inside the relationship and does not know how to find her way back. This happens gradually. She poured herself into being a partner, a mother, a caretaker. She stopped having her own friendships, her own goals, her own identity outside of the relationship. And one day she woke up and felt this terrifying, formless rage, not at you specifically, but at the feeling of having disappeared. And because she cannot name it, because she does not fully understand it herself, it comes out sideways. As irritability, as resentment, as arguments about things that are not really the point. The chaos is herself trying to claw its way back to the surface. This is not your fault, but it does require your attention. Because a woman who has lost herself inside a relationship will burn it down, trying to find herself again, unless someone helps her see what is actually happening. So what do you actually do with all of this? Here is the most important thing I can tell you. Do not fight the storm. Name it. The next time chaos erupts, when the argument feels like it came from nowhere, when the reaction seems wildly disproportionate to the trigger, instead of defending yourself, instead of escalating, instead of withdrawing, try something different. Say calmly and without sarcasm, I can see you are really hurting right now. I am not going anywhere. When you are ready, I want to understand what is really going on. That single response does something that no argument ever can. It removes the need for the chaos. Because the chaos was never about winning. It was about being seen, being heard, being assured that you are still there. When you provide that assurance without requiring her to be calm first, you break the cycle at its root. And for the women watching this, if you recognized yourself in any of this, please hear me clearly. You are not crazy. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are someone whose nervous system learned to survive in conditions that did not teach you how to be safe in love. That is not your fault. But it is your responsibility. Because the people you love deserve a version of you that is working on this. And more importantly, you deserve a version of yourself that does not have to live in chaos to feel alive. Therapy, self-awareness, honest conversations with your partner. These things are not weaknesses. They're the bravest things you can do. If this video explained something you could not explain before, share it. Right now, send it to someone whose relationship needs this conversation. Leave a comment below. Did this help you understand something about yourself or someone you love? Tell me. I read every single one. And if you are not yet subscribed to Psychology on Love, this is your moment. Every single week we go this deep into the real psychology behind love, chaos, healing, and human connection. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next video. Chaos in a relationship is never the real story. It is always a translation of something that does not yet have words. Learn the language, and everything changes. I will see you in the next one.